Ready now. Thank you for having me here. The project the application that I'm going to present now is a result of a applied research project conducted at my home institution. And I would like to begin by putting the topic of a gazetteer in a bit of a context. Gazetteer has traditionally meant a book containing place names, which are then explained by their geographical location and other more detailed data, for example, demography, height above sea level, things like that. A gazetteer that I'm presenting is a historical gazetteer and deals with explaining the historical place names that are no longer in use. Geographically, it is limited to the state territory of modern Slovenia. So why create or why would be a gazetteer of the Middle Ages needed? Well, because place names change in time. In the context of Slovenia, our territory has been for the longest time part of the Holy Roman Empire, then later of the Habsburg monarchy, and finally Yugoslavia in 1991. Slovenian language also appeared in printed form in the middle of the 16th century during the Reformation period and did not get widespread use in written or printed form until the 19th century. In other words, in the Middle Ages, there was no Slovenian vernacular. This means that written records were produced almost exclusively in the languages of the literate elites, namely in Latin, German, and Italian. Place names of the Slovenian territory were, on the other hand, created or appeared in Slovenian language of the non-privileged majority population. The medieval and early modern scribes and authors were mostly non-native and or not speakers of the local language. As a consequence, when referring to a locality, the scribes either tried to reproduce the sounds of the Slovenian place name or alternatively inform themselves about the meaning of the place name and recorded the translation. Due to this practice, names of any locality vary, sometimes very significantly in time or even within the same period. Consequently, identification of place names in medieval and early modern sources is still very much a non-trivial affair. This is compounded further by the fact that some of the localities that are being referred to by the historical records are minor settlements or other geographic features such as churches, castles, rivers, streams, peaks, or even individual homesteads or meadows. The medieval gazetteer for the Slovenian territory has its origins in the work of historians from the early and middle 20th century. One of these was Milko Kos, whose work resulted in the first Slovenian medieval gazetteer, which appeared shortly after his death in 1975. Geographically, it was limited to the area of the historical territory of Carniola, or Krain in German, covering the central part of the Slovenian territory. His work was the basis for two other historical gazetteers produced by historians Ivan Zelko and Pavle Blaznik, who both focused on the eastern part of the present-day Slovenia. These three works have provided invaluable support to historians studying the Middle Ages in Slovenia ever since. But they have several drawbacks, which are primarily connected to their format. For example, with the exception of Dr. Zelko's book, they lack maps. There is also the question of the small number of copies produced and the fact that the western part of the Slovenian territory has not been covered. On the basis of this legacy, a team of historians joined by a couple of colleagues from the Computer Systems Department at the Joseph Stefan Institute in Ljubljana decided to embark on a project of revisiting the medieval Gazetteer and bringing it to the digital format. In the original project that had ended in 2016, we digitized and converted to a relational database Milko Kos' original work. During the project, it turned out that quite a few corrections had to be made. Along that, a significant number of locations had been identified for the first time and added to the database. As part of the preparatory studies, the team also conducted basic research in archives, further improving quality of the information provided to the users. As far as it has been possible, the location have been georeferenced and presented on a web map. After a 2 years pause, our team was successful in obtaining a new project, with which we were able to follow up and improve on our original effort. This time, we've chosen to provide a gazetteer for the Primorska or littoral region, which had not yet been covered. The basis for the project was again the work of Milko Kos, this time in the form of TypeScript index card file. We've proceeded along similar lines as in our previous project with digitization and entering data into our database. A lot of effort was again given to archival research. Due to historical reasons, the majority of the archives pertinent to the Western Slovenia are in Italy, and again, because of recent history, they were not easily accessible to Yugoslav citizens during the lifetime of Milko Kos. This meant quite few of the materials were consulted for the first time. Now, let me try going with our application. Yeah, the risky part, yeah, and now let's share screen. I'm apologizing because this view that you're seeing now is due to the narrow screen that we're having here. It's the primary design is intended for widescreen, so it's not visible everything. On a desktop computer, you usually see everything in one page. During our project, we've made several changes to our original designs, some in the background and some visible on the web page. Firstly, we've revamped the database schema to better service our needs. We've also decided that we want to represent the geographical features more intuitively. In our original project, we've represented all features as points on the map. In the case of waterways, for example, that meant a marker placed somewhere near the end of the watercourse. In the new applications, we support vector lines and also polygons for the lakes. So yeah, these are rivers and streams, and let me move to here. This is the Cerknica lake in the southwestern Slovenia. Alongside this, we've decided to switch from the Google Maps and go with the OpenStreetMap and OpenLayers combination. On this upper side, we've kept a list an alphabetical list of all the present day place names, which are interactive and can be clicked. And with this, you can access details, and the zoom focuses on the location, marker changes, and then on the third part of the view, we get a detailed view of the location and the historical place names. All historical place names or palyonyms then contain further data. This part, which you see here, is the datation of the mention of this palyonym, then followed by a section that we dubbed context, which is which offers a few additional words from the original source, and at the bottom we get the bibliographical data. This here only has one, but if I move to another location, here we get a much more richer output, a lot more palyonyms and a lot more mentions in the sources. So an important feature that we've added to our application that was not included in the original project is the inclusion of data filters, which are accessible through this button here. And since we've added two areas together now, we can filter by them. This is like done like so. Here, the data is filtered, and now you can see the data set from the original project. If we switch, this is we'll get the area covered in the second project. So then the second set of checkboxes contains descriptive types or categories. These are actually categories. Behind them, there's a list of 83 descriptive types of the locations, which we've then narrowed down to these 5 types. These are settlements, waterways, mountains, larger regional names, and smaller individual objects. Yeah. So, yeah. Dobro. Okay, this is the view that you get for the present day toponyms, but we also provide a view that offers palyonyms as first. This is a much larger data set and loads a bit longer, but after that you can proceed with the question when finding a palyonym in your historical records, you can search for it here and find what it is, where it is, and yeah. Thank you.